with the NBA season about to start up and fantasy drafts ongoing and coming up soon for most fantasy basketball players, here's a few forwards I would avoid drafting this season. The first guy is LeBron James of the Los Angeles Lakers. So LeBron, we know he's a great talent. He's one of the better players to ever step foot on an NBA court. But right here, I think this season we're going to see a lot of load management. We're going to see him take off a lot of games. And the Lakers here in the offseason, they added a lot of depth to their roster with even older guys, but still, it's guys that are going to give LeBron a break, in my opinion. I think his minutes go down. I don't think he plays even 70 games this season. I see anywhere from 55 to 60 regular season games, and who knows if he's still 100% yet from that bad ankle injury last season. So last season, he still put up great numbers, 25 points a game, 7.7 boards, 7.8 assists, 1.1 steals, and 2.3s a game, and 51% from the field. But right here, it's all about the playoffs for the Los Angeles Lakers this season. After last season, getting bounced in the first round. So right now, LeBron James is going anywhere from late first to the early second round I've seen in most drafts. So right now, I know he's a great player, but I think this season, with him up there in age and coming off the ankle injury, they're going to take it back with him, and especially with all the depth the Lakers have this year, his minutes and games are going to go down, so I would avoid him this season. Next forward I look to avoid is Gordon Hayward of the Charlotte Hornets. So Hayward last season, he got off to a roaring start, and I was saying for weeks on weeks after making videos to sell him high, and he's going to get hurt, and it eventually happened. And Hayward, every season, it seems like he gets a major injury, and so far coming into training camp, he's looked good and he's not injured. He's 100%. So last season, good numbers, 19.6 points a game, 5.9 rebounds, 4.1 assists, 1.2 steals, 1.9 threes a game, and 47% from the field. But this season, the Hornets here, they got Kelly Oubre in the mix, where I think he's going to take a lot of minutes at that forward position. And Gordon Hayward, he's another guy that I could see this Charlotte team have on some load management as well. And the Hornets, they got a lot of good scorers on the team. Obviously, LaMelo Ball. Terry Rozier had a great season last year. And right now, Hayward's going anywhere from the 4th to the 6th round in fantasy drafts. But he's a guy I'm going to try to avoid altogether with his injury history and some of the young and up-and-coming players on this Hornet roster. So right here, let someone else deal with the headache with Hayward, because I just don't want to deal with him this season. And he just doesn't prove to stay healthy a whole year. So you're going to expect him to be out a few weeks at least this season. The next forward's Pascal Siakam of the Toronto Raptors. So Siakam, one of the last big players on this Toronto Raptor team, but he's been banged up the last couple months here after coming off a left shoulder surgery. And right now, he still hasn't taken contact. We don't know when he's coming back. And he's definitely going to be out at least a month or two, in my opinion. He got the shoulder surgery with Siakam in late June here. But right now, it's already October, and there's no timetable for his return. So last season for the Raptors, good year, 21.4 points a game, 7.2 rebounds, 4.5 assists, a steal a game, 1.3 threes a game, and 45% from the field. So right now, Siakam's going anywhere from the 5th to the 7th round in fantasy drafts. But right now, I know most people have injured spots on their fantasy teams here this season. But right now, I just can't trust Siakam's going to be 100%. This Raptor team, like I mentioned, they lost Kyle Lowry in free agency. And many teams, they're just going to vocal point Siakam as a guy to stop. And last year, we saw a couple stretches where Siakam wasn't on top of his game and have many off games. So right here with his injury and with teams going to focus in on him, I don't know if he could be the number one guy, especially with Kyle Lowry gone this season. The next forward I'm going to avoid is Kristaps Porzingis of the Dallas Mavericks. So Kristaps Porzingis every season, just like Gordon Hayward, he's a guy to get hurt. And this season he's going to start at powered forward is Porzingis, according to Jason Kidd and this Maverick coaching staff. So last season for Porzingis, 21 points a game, 8.9 rebounds, 1.6 assists, 2.3 threes a game, and 47% from the field. So pretty solid numbers, but he's another guy that I'm just not going to take in the 3rd or 4th round of my fantasy drafts and only get 40 or 50 games out of him, because in my opinion, He's not going to play many games. A guy with his athleticism and his size at 7'3", it's just not normal, and the human body can't take all that impact and beating for a big guy like Porzingis. So my opinion, once again, he's going to miss 25 to 30 games a season, and that's a big chunk, especially for fantasy owners who are going to put in a guy who's going to take a guy in the third or fourth round here who's going to miss probably all those games that I pencil him in to miss each and every season. So right now, Kristaps Porzingis is a forward I'm going to avoid, and the fifth and final forward I'm going to avoid drafting this season. Caris LeVert of the Indiana Pacers. So Caris LeVert, another injury here for LeVert, a minor stress fracture in his back, and we don't know if it's going to be minor or if he can return when the season starts. But right here, Caris LeVert, last season we knew he was out with some medical issues. Last year though, when he played, he was a good ball player, no doubt about it. 20 points a game, 4.6 rebounds, 5.2 assists, 44% from the field, and 1.8 threes a game. So Caris LeVert, he's a definitely big-time scorer. He's on a decent team here in the Pacers who have a couple decent guys with Malcolm Brogdon, LeVert obviously, Sabonis, and Miles Turner. But right now with this back injury, it's a very tricky injury, especially for NBA players here. So Caris LeVert right now, I'll let someone else deal with his injury, even though he's got great upside coming into this season, because I don't know if he's going to be 100%. I don't know how many games he's going to miss. And so far, throughout his young career, he's missed a lot of ball games. So that's a few forwards I'm going to avoid drafting heading into the fantasy drafts and the NBA season.